How's it going, gang? What's going on, man? We are talking about the book, Think and Grow Rich. That's right. And a lot of people break it down. I'm chilling. I got my little music going. It was a beautiful day today, and and talking about how beautiful it was today, right? With the sun shining in the 70s. Ooh, man. I sat out in my backyard and just did tons of outside work, just beautifying my house and my property, but at the same time recognizing that stay at home order. So I'm staying at home and I'm enjoying my family and enjoying the time at home and just being safe and being careful. A lot of people are not being safe and being careful. And I get both sides of it, but I'm I'm gonna tell you guys, listen, if you have a family and you understand the ramifications of whether it's a man-made disease or not, it is still killing people at alarming rates. And why would you want to expose your family to that? It is so much easier just to stay home, right? I know people talk about they want to go back to work. The same people that talk about they want to go back to work are the same people that says, thank God it's Friday and I hate Monday. Those are the same people that I see on the news talking about how they want to go back to work. But, hey, people will do what they will do because they are creatures of habit. I'm trying to change that with you guys. I want you guys to live at a higher level, a higher level. This book, Think and Go Rich, and I'll talk about it later. I think that you should read it a minimum of 3 times. Three times, the entire book, 3 times in a row. Okay. And every single night, you should be reading a chapter on auto suggestion so you can get that thing in your head. You need to get those concepts, those laws in your head so that you can move forward and have the life that you want, right? So, anyway, guys, let's get into imagination. Imagination is the workshop to the mind and the fifth step toward riches. Let's jump into the whiteboard, guys. Woo! I tell you what, when we are talking about imagination, right? Imagination is literally, right, the workshop wherein our fashion, all plans are created by man. All plans are created in the imagination. That's right. Our imagination has, oh, it is powerful, right? It is the pulse, the impulse, the desire. It is given shape and form and action through the aid of the imagination faculty of the mind. So remember the chapter on desire when I told you guys to imagine in your mind the amount of money that you desired and what you wanted. Um, that is giving power through this principle right here, imagination, guys. So imagine, like the pun, imagine yourself living the life that you want. But in order to do that, you guys have to work out. You guys need some training. You guys need to get that muscle engaged so that you guys can truly work your imagination. So let's go into, I'm going to talk more about what Napoleon Hill says about that, right? And he says, I truly believe, right, man can create anything which he can imagine. And for those who doubt this is me talking now. For those who doubt this, just take a look at the fact that man, through the aid of his imagination faculty, has discovered and harnessed more of nature's forces during the past 50 years than during the entire history of the human race prior to those 50 years, right? Remember, we were living in the caveman era, right? We were all, we hadn't even figured out how to make a wheel with a rock yet, right? We were hunters and gatherers of animals and berries, and we were barbaric. Then something happened. We developed understanding of consciousness, and after we developed understanding of consciousness, we we understood the laws and concepts of the imagination. Once that imagination kicked in, guys, wow, we began to accelerate in growth, and we still accelerate in growth. Just think about it, right? Um, what man has done right now, right? We have already landed on the moon. We've explored the moon and the far reaches of other galaxies. We are beyond Mars and in galaxies that we have no idea. We are literally exploring other galaxies right now, and we're actually talking about, okay, occupying parts of the moon to live, to travel for vacation. Can you understand that? The moon we're talking about, guys. The imagination is phenomenal when used correctly with desire. Okay. So even so, right? Man has created computers as small as the tip of an ink pen that can outcalculate algorithms quicker than some of the greatest mathematicians on the planet. We have created that through our imagination. Someone thought of that. Having a computer so small that it's the size of the tip of a pen. Look at us. We now walk around, all of us, glued to our computers. And I'm not talking about a laptop. I'm talking about the handheld devices we call phones these days. And Steve Jobs has changed that world for us forever. Handheld computers. That is what we're into now, guys. Okay. And someone will come up with something else and create new levels of evolvement through their faculty of imagination. And that's what it is. Okay. Now understand this, and I'll write this in the quote. Man's only limitation, move it over here. Let me make this a little smaller so I can fit it here for you guys. So you guys can screenshot that. Man's only limitation, within reason, lies in his development and use of his imagination. Now you see this, right? You see this comment, and we're going to come back to this comment because I believe that as you develop your imagination, more paths of life open up to you guys. You begin to grow in ways that other people aren't growing right now because they are not using the muscle of imagination. Now, here you go, guys. There are two forms of imagination, and I'll put them out here for you. There's synthetic imagination, And that imagination is, let's see if I could give you guys a good definition of this synthetic imagination. I'm going to use Napoleon Hill's definition for this to make it a little easier for myself here. Synthetic imagination, and what it is old concepts, ideas that you have, or plans, and they're created. They're go into new combinations, right? All of your old information is gathered and put into a new idea. So let's see if I can write this out where you guys understand it. Okay, now I'm gonna say one may arrange and create mm, one may arrange old concepts. So old concepts, ideas, or plans into new combination. Now, I want you guys to understand this. This is synthetic imagination, and it creates nothing, right? It creates nothing. All it does, it merely works with, right, the material, experience, and education and observation which is fed to it. So you feed synthetic imagination in order for it to create, all right, take old concepts and put them in new combinations, new order, okay, of that haven't been presented before. So you're not creating anything new with synthetic imagination, but it is important, right? It's important because this is the concept that scientists use in order to, for example, cure the COVID-19 virus, right? They're using um, ideas, plans, old concepts, old data to create, okay, a cure for the COVID-19. Now, obviously, this is minus the geniuses, right? The geniuses, when they are exhausted all of their old concepts, ideas, and plans, they then use their creative imagination to develop new ideas. And that is where we're going next. We're going to creative imagination. And that is the next step, okay, uh, in the imagination process. Creative. So there's creative imagination. You got the synthetic imagination, you got the creative imagination. Both of them are important, right? And both of them need continuous work in order to develop yourself into a person who can use his imagination at will. It's your superpower. It can be your superpower, guys. So creative imagination, right? Um, through creative imagination, the finite mind of man has a direct communication with infinite intelligence, right? So, so through creative imagination, the mind of man direct. What is it to have direct, right? When somebody has direct communication with you, when they pick up the phone and call you, you answer immediately, right? Look at that, man. To have direct communication with infinite intelligence, right? What would you give to have direct communication with infinite intelligence, with the higher power? To when you ask for something, okay, it gives you inspiration, it gives you hunches, and that's what creative imagination is. It comes in the form of hunches and inspirations received, right? It is by this faculty, creative imagination, that is, that all basic and new ideas are handed over to man. Any new idea that man has created comes from infinite intelligence, and then it comes through the form of creative imagination, guys. So obviously, this is a muscle that you guys want to work on, to develop, to use for good, right? I love saying to use for good, right? Because I love superhero movies, but it's for you guys to use for good. All right. So understand that when we talk about creative imagination. Now, it is through this faculty. I told you guys that um, all that one individual may uh, tune in or communicate with the subconscious minds of other men as well. Wow. So listen, Napoleon Hill goes on to say this, and he says, and I'll write it out for you guys. So think of that, guys. You can tune in or communicate with the subconscious mind of other men. Wow. Not only are you talking, getting your ideas directly from infinite intelligence, you can use this creative imagination faculty, okay, to communicate with the subconscious mind of other men, right? Now, the creative imagination, it works automatically, okay? It's not something that you have to turn on, but you do have to develop its strength, okay, and how you communicate. We'll get into that, right? Now, when the conscious mind is working at a very um rapid rate, such as, right, a strong desire, a burning desire. If you have a burning desire for something, your creative imagination is activated, and it begins to work in order to find a solution to what you are feverishly, heatedly working towards. The creative imagination does that for you. It goes, hey, listen, I see that you're working on this idea. This idea is really, really got you. I have an idea. Comes down from infinite intelligence. Now, both synthetic and creative imagination faculties um, become more and more alert with the use, just as the muscles in the gym, guys, just as the muscles in the gym. You got to use them. You got to use those muscles in order for them to start kicking in, to start working for you. It is powerful how when you do reps and sets, is my favorite line. When you guys do reps and sets, you get better. I always tell people you can do anything you want if you're willing to put in the work, right? The work is required to get good at this. The work is required to become wealthy and get riches. Guys, reading this book over and over again, 3 times minimum, is worth the price, the time to put in than to try to figure it all out on your own slow, long process through a lifetime 50, 60, 70 plus years before you become a millionaire. Come on, what kind of life is that, right? You want to enjoy it when you can enjoy it, when you have the energy to enjoy it. All right, guys? That's what you want. Okay, so now remember this, guys. I want you to remember this. Desire is only a thought, right? Maybe I should write that down, right? Maybe I should write that down. It's funny. When I was in college, my teacher would say something, and I would have no idea whether to write down a note or not. And the teacher would give you no clue whether to write it down. I mean, and I'm not talking about notes as far as passing a test. I'm talking about notes as far as how valuable they are to my life, your life, right? So this is valuable to your life, and you should write it down. Desire is only a thought, right? It has no energy, no use, right? Now, I'm not going to say energy, but desire is only a thought, right? It is, as Napoleon Hill said, it is abstract with no value until it has been transformed into its physical counterpart. Meaning, if you have a desire for something, for riches, okay, for someone in your life, for a physical asset such as a home or a car, if you have those, your desire for those has zero value until that desire is transformed into its physical equivalent, meaning the riches, the house, the car, the person, whatever you are desiring. So your desire has no value. So understand that. You have to be creative. You have to use that creative process, right? Now, understand as we continue, you may need to get your imagination in the gym, right? For some work, both your synthetic and your creative imagination. You might have to get them both in the gym. You might have to get them suckers working out so that you can have the life that you want, so that you can give some manifestation to that desire that you have written down. Now, Napoleon Hill goes on to talk about in his book and the chapter on imagination, right? To give the laws that lead to fortunes. There are laws in nature, immutable laws in nature that we all have to follow, right? If you jump off a building and you don't have wings, you're going to fall to the ground. That is the law of gravity. There are many other laws out there that are immutable that we have to go by in order to have the life that we want. And when you go by these laws, the universe opens up to you, okay, its coffers, its purse to allow you to have the riches that you want. Right? Now, he states, right, further that this earth, the planet that we're on, and every one of the billions of individual cells in your body and every atom, matter, um, all begins in an intangible form of energy, meaning we are all energy. Another law. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed, which is always messes me up um, when it comes to my life and what will be the form that I transfer to when this current form that I'm in is done. Amazing, right? Matter cannot be created or destroyed. Cannot have a consciousness when I'm no longer in my current form. This is answers that, wow, that'll be later on. That'll be another book, guys. Trust me. But let's continue on with this imagination, right? So it's an intangible form of energy, and this is a law, right? Now, your desire, as we talked about before, your desire is a thought impulse, right? You desire something. It's an impulse of thought, right? Now, thought impulses are forms of energy, hence impulse. It is a form of energy. Now, when you begin with the thought impulse desire to accumulate money, um, right? To accumulate money, you are using the same energy that nature used to create this earth. Immutable law, guys. Immutable law. If you follow these laws, you will have the life that you want. But you got to be consistent. You can't never quit, right? Quitting cannot be an option, right? And you have to just continually go at it over and over again until you build up the muscles in order to use all of these laws efficiently. Because that's what it is. People say that laws don't work. No, you're not good. I tell people quick, I'm quick to tell you, right? You don't have the life that you want. It's because you're not working at the life that you want efficiently. Efficiently. We have to be efficient at what we're doing. Riches don't come easy. They don't come at a whim. They don't come at a wish. They come at efficiently working the laws of the universe. Efficiently knowing reps and sets and putting it in, guys. Okay, so let's continue on here. Um, also, they say you can build a fortune through the aid of the laws which are immutable. But first, you must learn those laws. Napoleon Hill said it right here. You must first learn the laws. If you don't know the laws, then you're going to be out there trying to create a fortune and breaking all the rules, guys, all the rules of nature, and you're not going to get what you want, right? You got to learn how to use them, number one. And number two, you learn how to use them through repetition. So continually working on your imagination and using it through repetition allows you to get good at using your imagination. And we're talking synthetic and we're talking creative. This is something that you need to do over and over and over again before you become good at it. Now, my advice to you guys is to read this book no less than 3 times, right? I read this book every single year, probably for the past now 10 years. I've been reading this book every year. Um, I fell off a year, and the year that I fell off not reading this book, I actually had a very bad year financially, emotionally, okay, relationship wise. It was just a bad year. And it's because I did not read this book and I did not pay attention to the concept. And I just kind of took for granted that I was already good at them. I wasn't good at them. I needed work and I needed continuous work. Okay. Now, in this book, in this chapter on imagination, um, Napoleon Hill goes into some examples. But one of the most important examples is the story of the enchanted kettle. Now, some of you guys might already know the story about the enchanted kettle, but it just so happens that a doctor arrived at a drugstore late at night, okay, and when he arrived at the drugstore, he met with the drugstore clerk, and after hours of going back and forth, whispering about this and whispering about that, they finally negotiated a price, right? He handed the grocery store, right, down the grocery store, the drugstore clerk, a kettle, a big kettle, a wooden paddle, and after the drugstore clerk handed over to the doctor his savings, everything that he had in his savings, which at the time back then was $500, which was a lot of money back then, by the way, guys. Um, $500. He handed it over to the doctor. The doctor handed him a slip of paper with a secret formula on it. Now, guys, understand this. The secret formula, the kettle, the wooden paddle, meant absolutely nothing to the doctor, right? Because the reason why it meant absolutely nothing to the doctor, because he did not possess what the drugstore clerk possessed, that specific ingredient that changed a kettle, a wooden paddle, and a secret formula into a king's ransom. I'm talking $1 billion company. That's right, guys. This is the story and the start of the secret formula of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola began in the back of a drugstore with the imagination of a drugstore clerk. The same imagination that the doctor, with all his knowledge, could have had, but he did not have. It was the imagination that the drugstore clerk used to create the fortune that made him a king's ransom. And I think that that was an awesome, fantastic story when it comes to someone using their imagination to take an idea. Because think about it, guys. How many ideas did you come across a day that you don't act on? How many ideas do people throw at you, right? Everybody has an idea about something, but very few people are accumulating the wealth that it takes to have the life that they want. You want to know why? The reason why is because all those people lack the power, the muscle, the imagination muscle, the creative imagination muscle, the synthetic imagination muscle. They lack those. And because they lack them, their ideas, they just dissipate. They just get exhausted with just thinking about it and they let it go and they see another shiny object and they run after it. I was one of those people. I would love to run after a shiny object because I didn't want to put in the work of understanding the laws that it takes to create the wealth and the life that I currently wanted, right? I lacked that. And so I had to work on developing that, guys. And so do you. You have to work on developing that. Okay. And it is worth it. Trust me, guys. It is more than worth it to have the life that you want. Okay. Now, if you're one of those people that believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring you riches, Napoleon Hill tells you perish the thought, guys. Perish the thought. Hard work and honesty alone will never, ever bring you riches. It'll make you feel good because you work hard and you sweat a little bit, and you're an honest person. but it won't give you the life that you want. It will never give you the life that you want, right? Now, riches, right? Riches are come in a response to definite demands based upon the application of the principles and not by chance or luck. I used to love wishing for wishes. Um, about maybe 10 years ago, I stopped playing the lottery. I don't want to accumulate my wealth through luck or chance. I, d- I don't want to do it. I refuse to be a millionaire through luck or chance, right? My accumulation will be through the laws of nature and my ability to take my ideas, okay, and inject imagination and to bring value to people while I'm solving problems. That is how you guys create a fortune. You solve problems. The bigger problems you solve, the greater fortune the world will open up to you. I'm telling you guys, this is how you achieve the life that you want. Okay. Um, ideas are like that, guys. Ideas are like that. First, you give life to an idea, right? Um, and then action, and then guidance to ideas. Then they take on a life of their own, right? And they begin to now drive you toward the life that you truly want. That's how powerful ideas are, guys. And saying that, I want you guys to know three things that I want to get into about imagination. Okay. The first thing I need you guys to do is, and I'll say this, is reread this chapter. Reread the chapter on imagination. Now, if you guys don't have the book, then I suggested you guys once again rewatch this video. Rewatch this video on imagination. And when you do so, watch it with the intent of what ideas have crossed my mind that I did not act on through my faculty of imagination, whether it was through my education, through my experience, or whether it was why didn't I act on that idea. So that is going to be my second question to you. What ideas did I have, and why didn't I act on them? So what ideas did I have in the past couple of months, in the past couple of years? Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I've had so many ideas in the past couple of years that I did not act on, which infuriated me when someone else came along and they had a great idea and they were actually doing it. Okay, um, it is very, very hard on your mind to watch you not act, right? Our mind likes to act. Our mind likes to be aggressive and move forward. And it is very hard on our mind, on your subconscious, when you don't act. It becomes disappointed in you. And the hardest thing to do, right, is to when someone becomes disappointed in you, especially if you become disappointed in yourself, is to bounce back from that. Sometimes it takes a long time and a lot of reading and a lot of prayer and a lot of meditation and tons of therapy that you guys don't need if you can just act. Just act. Okay? The next thing I want you guys to do is this, right? Your next idea. No matter what it is, right? No matter what your next idea is, begin to use synthetic imagination, right? Meaning arrange old concepts, ideas, and plans and figure out how this new idea, right, can help you to achieve the goals that you want. So, your next idea, I want you to act upon it immediately. Now, guys, you may say, well, my next idea was stupid. Well, guess what? If your idea was stupid or it was intelligent, um, if you never acted on it, it really doesn't matter, guys. I need you guys to act on ideas. I need you guys to read the chapter on imagination and understand how important it is to put together these concepts to start to develop your imagination. And then I also need you guys to use some assiduity. Sit on your butt with a piece of paper in a room, quiet, for 10 minutes a day minimum, and just think. Just think. Just think of ideas and write them down. Think of ideas and write them down. I'm suggesting you guys use no music, no nothing. All right. Just think of ideas, write them down. And what you'll begin to do is you'll begin to develop that imagination muscle. You start to think of ideas, and through those ideas you begin to take those ideas and shape and mold them into something that you truly want to do with your life, guys. So here you go. That is the chapter on imagination. I was excited about teaching this chapter all day long because I love the chapter on imagination, and it's almost as exciting as the next chapter called organized planning. So let's get there tomorrow. We're going to be learning about organized planning. We're going to get you guys together. We already went through specialized knowledge. We went through faith. We went through desire. We are going toward the sixth step toward witches. And by the time I'm done, guys, you guys will have all of the tools that you need to have the life that you want. And you're going to have to put in work. But when I'm done here, it's going to be work that you enjoy. You're going to feel good about this work. So let's get it, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow with organized planning. Talk to you later. Bye bye.